A national stay-away planned for tomorrow, and then this warning of another public sector wage stalemate and the possibility of strike action there. So joining us now is well-known and respected labour relations expert Andrew Levy. Good afternoon to you and welcome. It would seem if you look at both of these strands in the story, the public service wage stalemate and also the stay away tomorrow, this time around positions seem to be more entrenched. There seems to be a lot more anger around this. Is that an unfair assessment?
No, Jeremy, I think that's actually quite right. And we are expecting generally an increase in union pushfulness, if you want to put it that way, this year. We're probably also expecting a slight increase in the numbers of strikes, although I think the length of strikes will be down. But I think that is quite a shrewd observation. And I think that in part, and it also reflects in the current situation, it's urged on by inter-union rivalry.
Let's park the inter-union rivalry for a moment, and let's just look at the affordability as far as all of this is concerned, both as far as the public sector goes and also the national minimum wage, which NUMSA is rejecting out of hand. The conundrum is that it's pushing employers certainly to the absolute brink of affordability.
Unquestionably. The national minimum wage, and I don't believe that anyone who is sane for a moment can say we don't need it. The question is, how high should it be set? Now, it's been set at approximately 48% of the median wage. That means roughly 1 in 2 South African workers will benefit directly from it. The NUMSA position is they're talking about 12,500, which would put it on a par with miners, and miners are probably in the top quartile of the wage distribution. That would lead to an absolute jobs bloodbath. So the tricky point here is, at what level do you set it so that it helps people but doesn't go the other way and destroy jobs? Now, I think we can live with 3,500. In fact, it's about 3,900 on a 45-hour week. But to multiply that by nearly 3.5 to 4 is frankly just not feasible at all. That position cannot be sustained.
And not aided by the prevarication at this point by government that seems to be pushing the implementation date down the road.
Yes, I don't understand that one, because in point of fact, what one is getting is not a clear statement of intent. And certainly one could ask, is there perhaps some desire just to try and park this on the back burner so it won't take place right now? Is this to be seen as something which perhaps the ratings agencies would approve of? That is unclear at the moment.
Haven't we always had inter-union rivalry, or is there a different dynamic at play?
A very different dynamic now. It's much, much more acute. And it comes from the fact that NUMSA exited Saftu under very strange circumstances. Zwelinzima Vavi is a very competent and a very able union organizer. NUMSA is now the biggest union in the country. It's not going to take this lying down. So we have this tension between the two big federations, and almost taking advantage of this while the big dogs are fighting, the small ones swoop up what they can, or sweep up what they can. We're getting these little local one-off unions who are trying to get membership wherever they can, and that just generally increases the level of militancy and the possibility of strikes in and around industry.
Do we need a new approach? Is there a new approach?
Well, we follow a majoritarianism approach in our labour relations, and that's fundamentally a good one. But what it requires is that the union that is the minority will respect the fact that there is a majority. We'll let them get on with it, because one day when we're the majority, they will respect us. I think that's what we don't see at the moment.
Just finally, the public service stalemate that exists at the moment. Surely government is playing a fairly dangerous game at this point, given that we're now starting to enter into an election cycle.
Government are, but I think it's got to be said that government has generally done a good job with public sector salaries. Every year there is some tension. On the facts of the matter, the public sector is particularly well paid, but having said that, they normally settle at the lower end of the wage distribution, albeit at a higher salary. I think that it's unlikely that there will be a national strike across the entire public sector. I think it's more likely that the more militant unions in the public sector, which probably would number the teachers, the nurses, and probably Nahawu, may well strike. But again, I think it will be a limited one, because I think everyone must understand, when I say everyone, I mean the parties in the negotiation, that the settlement is going to be between 6.8, 7.3, 7.4%.